Hi, my name is Crystal, and today I'll be talking about what I read in January as someone who's trying to get back into reading. I was on winter break, I had a lot of time, and download Libby. Don't need to wait for a book to come. I started DNFing books, then forcing myself to push through a book I know I don't like when I could be reading something I do like. So DNFing is in. Also, I've been switching formats, like a physical book, and then say if I need to do something, I'll switch to audiobooks. I think it was a very good month of reading. So let me just talk about some of the books I read. Our Wives Under the Sea is always on sapphic reading list. So I was super excited. My expectations were really high for this book, and the concept is really cool. We have this married couple, Miri and Leah. One of them works as a marine biologist, and she regularly goes on these expeditions. On this recent trip, a trip that was supposed to last for 3 weeks ended up lasting for months. Miri did not know what happened to Leah, and she comes back a very different Leah than what Miri remembers her to be. So we have two point of views. We have the point of view of Leah, who went on the trip, and we see how what happens down there, how her team went sort of mad, and what is causing these physical and mental changes in her. And get Miri's point of view of having to take care of a partner who is deteriorated, and you just not knowing how to handle the fact that the wife that left is not the wife that came back. See, that sounds so cool because you get on one hand, you get a look on grieving over someone who's still here, grieving over someone who's alive. And you're also getting spooky sci-fi things in Leah's point of view as she's down in the water, the slow burn of what's happening. Were they sent on this mission that they were told would be 3 weeks? I'm thinking, oh, Miri is going to be trying to solve why the people in charge sent her wife down there, because they completely ghost her. It's almost as if they don't exist. So I'm thinking, oh, she's gonna try to figure this out, solve the mystery of what's going on with her wife. It felt like the book just left me wanting more, not in a good way. Just kept throwing mysteries at me. I'm okay with a book not answering all the questions, except that I'm not. I just feel like nothing gets solved. Why? Not gonna lie, you're giving me two point of views. One of the point of views is someone who is in the sea with creatures we've never seen before. And one of them is kind of just not moping, but you give me two point of views. I'm gonna want to read the one who's in the sea more. But the one who's in the sea got the shorter chapters. I'm just stop cutting away. I want to know what's happening down there. So yeah, I found Leah to be the more interesting protagonist. Obviously, I'm sorry, she's a marine biologist stuck in a submarine that's sinking hour after hour. I think I would still recommend it. The prose is very beautiful, and the way that the relationship is written really makes you want to root for these people, and makes you kind of sad that you're being shown flashbacks of who Leah was, and that's not the Leah you're following in this book. So I do think it was cool to read. I think that the mysteries that this book gives you just kind of fizzle out. Expectations of it not being what it is. So next up, I listened to the audiobook of The Spirit Bares Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. I read Hell Follows With Us last year, and it was amazing. Finished it in a day, had me on the edge of my seat. I was I am so excited to see what else he has. And I was correct, because he doesn't know how to write a bad book. This was my first 5-star of the year. So we follow Silas, who is a trans teen. Oh my God, why is it so hard to explain? This is your 5-star book. Explain it. Set in Victorian England during a time where children, a couple of years, I think maybe 100 years back, started being born with purple eyes, and these children are born with the ability to basically be medians. They can talk to the dead. If you're a man and you have purple eyes, so cool. If you're a woman, they're seen as too delicate for for median work, so they're treated as trophies for marriage, and they're sought after at such young ages. Why am I 12 and you're trying to marry me? I'm just a girl. So Silas wants nothing to do with this, obviously, and he really wants to be a surgeon like his brother, and he's trying to find a way out of this life that's been planned for him before he was even born. He ends up getting thrown into this school for sick like sick purple-eyed women. In reality, it's like they're just women with autonomy. There's nothing wrong with them. Yeah, Silas basically has to find his way out of this. This book upset me. It makes you reflect on how far we've come with mental health awareness, the way we treat women, the way we treat queer people, the way we treat trans people. It makes you like, wow, we've really come a far way. But also it's like we still have a lot of work to do. Seeing Silas end up finding people who are like him or people who understand him, it was such a good read. And the horror aspects of this book, you're reading about women getting brutalized in the worst possible manner. And it's even worse because you know that in history, these kind of things happen. Like a woman would be like, I feel like I just had a kid and I'm not there mentally. And it's like, oh, let's cut her brain out. Damn, I just need a little therapy. Like, it was terrifying. The torture scenes literally like gave me goosebumps. Like I was like, oh my God, like it just gave me a fear of getting tortured. And it's like, girl, when would that ever happen to you? But I was scared. I was scared. Seeing Silas grow into the person he's supposed to be. Listening to it on audiobook was even better because it's just like you're being told this story and you have no clue where it's going. It's just the suspense. This was the suspense I wanted from Our Wives Under the Sea that I did not get. Highly, highly recommend. Andrew Joseph White, I will read anything you write. Everything Inside was my first short story collection. One of my reading goals is to read more like Haitian authors. I'm Haitian American, and it feels like, damn, I've never read feels like I never read a Haitian protagonist before. The only Haitian protagonist I've ever read about was in Little Life, and I stopped reading that because I'm like, I don't want to see the first Haitian character I read on paper to be in this book where literally nothing good happens. It was nice to see like my language on paper, to see adults who act like the adults in my life and adults in my community. I wanted to see those people in the books I read. So this book is written, it's literally like, I don't want to say slice of life because I don't know whose life this would be a slice of, because some of the stuff that was in this book was like, damn, this is scandalous. But we follow different Haitian protagonists going through loss, love, grieving. And heard that there are some short stories collections that are like every short story in it is a 5 out of 5. This one was just not that. Some of them felt more fleshed out than the others. My two favorites were one where this girl finds out that her mother does know who her father is after being told in childhood that, like, just don't think about your dad. She finds out that her dad is dying in Haiti and has to go travel to Haiti to talk to him for what will be the last time. And you just follow her, how do you grieve for a person you don't know? And it's almost like you're grieving for the relationship you could have had. That hit home as a girl with daddy issues. I was like, damn, okay, this one's got a little kick to it. Another one of my favorites was the last one where we're following this man who his life is flashing before his eyes, and he's talking about how he immigrated to the country, and how dangerous that travel was, but how so many immigrants feel like they have to travel that way, opportunity of a better life, and how he meets his wife, their kid, and it's just so sad because it's inevitable, he's gonna die, but you just want more life for him because he had so much life to live with his family and how much he went through to get here only to just die. I almost wish that the short stories were more like that last one because a lot of them just didn't interest me. I do think a lot, like, it was good. I ended up just averaging out, like rating them individually and then averaging them out. So I think I rated like a 3.5 star. But yeah, it was just nice seeing my culture, nice seeing the language, and to like read about things I've heard my mom talk about. Definitely need to read more Haitian authors. Next, I read The Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. I was under the impression that this was a cozy fantasy, off-world building, but not too much of a high-stakes adventure. I don't know why I thought this. And then I listened to the book on audiobook and it's like content warning. I'm like, oh, content warning, like, oh, for like the fighting. Like, okay, there's gonna be fight, like content warning, violence. It was like content warning, BDSM elements. I said, oh, explicit sexual content. Okay, I'm down. Miss Lemming. I didn't know this was the kind of book we were gonna read. I have to get my headphones. So I feel like the title is self-explanatory, but we follow this girl named Cinnamon. Lives in this town where basically every I don't remember how many. The goddess that they worship will call on to a bunch of people to be heroes and go kill demons. Cinnamon wants nothing to do with the adventure. She's so happy she's not chosen um, because of something that happened in her past. She just does not want any part. She ends up going to this party and getting drunk and ends up accidentally saving this demon and learning that everything she knew about demons and everything she knew about the goddess she worships is a lie. So you follow them on this adventure, grow closer and closer in their relationship. It knew what it was. It didn't try to complicate things with some crazy fantasy terms, like in long exposition. Like, no. It knew it was a romance set in a fantasy novel. Let's give them romance. I need to feel like the man the love interest would literally die if they couldn't have the other person. If you like the kind of male character that's like, I will burn the world down for you, you're gonna like this one. This is for you. Because Fallon does not play about his girl. What words I can say on YouTube and which words I can't. The spicy scenes. I have a problem with a lot of books with spicy scenes because it feels like it's like 75% of the book. If you're giving me those scenes, I need it to be a sprinkle. There to be more of a plot than that. And this book had the perfect amount. I just, yeah. Honestly, I rated it a 4. The more I talk about it, I feel like it's more of a 5. I really enjoyed it. I was very surprised. Very fun, very fast paced, was never bored. All the characters were super lovable. It was just a fun time. I feel like I always have to change the mood. Like if I read a too happy book, I'm like, all right, now it's time to be a little sad. So I read Before the Coffee Gets Cold, which is a collection of short stories following this cafe. If you sit in a particular seat in the cafe, you could travel through time, but there's a bunch of rules. And the main rule is you have to leave the past or future before the coffee gets cold. Once again, not all the short stories hit. First one, I was like, this is entertaining, but I don't like, I want to feel something. Like these people are going back in time to talk to people they lost or people they're no longer in contact with, knowing that it's not going to really change anything because you can go back in time and try to change whatever you want to. Nothing will change in the present. Expecting some tears in the first. As the short stories started coming, I'm like, all right, these are starting to hurt me a little bit. This is one of those books that make you just want to hug the people around you closer. Like just realizing you don't have much time with everybody, that your life is very short and you need to spend the time that you have with them. That's the kind of book this is. Like I was just like, damn, I gotta hug my mom more. Like this is making me sad. I've really been wanting to read more magical realism. So this was just a cool concept and such a human thing, like to know you can't change anything and to still just want to spend, despite the consequences, just wanting to spend a little time with the people you love. Look at the regrets you made and the things you wish you would have said, and it like haunts them enough to want to go back in the past or go back in the future to talk to their loved ones. It was such a beautiful book. This would have been such a cool like slice of life anime or like slice of life animated show. So I ended up rating this book 4 stars. If you have anything you need to do, if you want to talk to somebody, if you love somebody, if you and your parents have something that's unsaid, you need to say it because our time is short. Our time is short and there's so many regrets. Just do it. That's oh, it was so good. Last but certainly not least, I read Land of Milk and Honey. And I feel like I always end up reading dystopians when the world is literally at its worst. Like the last time I read a dystopian was when COVID started and it was Parable of the Sower. Land of Milk and Honey is about there's this smog that's covering the earth, resulted in there's like food is running out. This chef who sort of has lost the passion for cooking, she ends up getting hired by this rich man and his daughter who have created this sort of utopia where they have like they're bringing back fruits and vegetables that have been lost due to the smog, are bringing back extinct animals and inviting all these rich people, just trying to impress in order to keep this utopia afloat and keep investors. She ends up getting hired after lying on her resume to cook for this rich family. And you kind of wondering like, because they do know she's lying, so why did she get hired? And you start to realize there's a deeper reason for why she got hired and what's happening at this place that's supposed to be utopia. Rich people would cause a problem and then literally leave, like literally leave the world dry and won't care about the consequences, because the smog is caused by these corporations literally not caring about the way that they're affecting the environment. Of course, as soon as it gets rough, they all go someplace else. Like they all find ways to get out of the consequences of there not being any natural, like the depletion of the natural resources. Rich people did what rich people are supposed to. They would be giving these foods out, helping people who are starving and poor. But no, they're having fancy parties, eating freaking whale meat when they could be helping other people. And they make excuses as to why other people can't eat it. Like they'll be like, oh, their taste buds aren't made for this kind of food. And it's like, maybe their taste buds aren't made for this kind of food because they've never been allowed to have this kind of food. Like, you guys are literally eating like kings while other people starve. The rich gotta go. Like, I'm sick of it. I'm tired. Reading this book made me feel like I had never read a book ever in my life. Because some of the words used to describe the foods she's making, these rich, luxe French meals, and watching her experiment with with ingredients she's never used before. You feel like I'm eating it, but also it it almost gives it like a sterile vibe, because there's no she's given all these like delicious foods that should be like literally mind-blowing to her, and she's just feeling nothing. Like she's just numb to it. I mean, and then the relationship she ends up building with the daughter is weird. When you read the book, you'll just be like, wow, what a fucked up family this is. Moral stories: rich people aren't good people. And don't let them trick you into thinking that they are. Yeah, I really enjoyed reading this. It was very slow. There were points where I was getting a little sleepy and I was like, okay, this is good, but I'm kind of ready for this to wrap up. But once it picked up again, I was like, okay, I really want to see how this goes, because the story is told in this way where like you know something bad happened, you know that she's not in the land of milk and honey anymore. I'm wondering like, oh my god, what's gonna happen to make her leave? Because why would you leave? I'm a chef. This is literally heaven for a chef. And if I leave, I have to deal with the smog literally making every other version of life shit. This was really interesting and very timely with the way the climate crisis. Oh, we are not okay. That was everything I read in January. I would love to know what your favorites or what books you kind of hated in January. And hopefully I read more in February. I'm trying to read Black romances. That's the vibe for February. So I gotta go to the library soon to pick those up. But thank you so much for watching my first ever reading wrap up. Bye.